What's up, guys? Chun is back. Today I've got another filler match for you guys today against someone who goes by the name of Some Random Guy. This is an old battle that took place around the time of Smoke on Tour 12, so it's at least a year old. Being that that's the case, I am using an old team I used to run with, and I believe I was on the ladder on PO, if I recall correctly. And no, this is not the wallpaper for this month. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Alright, I'm going to be leading with Frostlass. He's going to go with Heat Train. It's a mind game from the first turn for both sides, since that's what lead Frostlass tends to do for both players, since neither player knows what the other's going to do first. I just go for spikes assuming my opponent knows what Frostlass does, which it looks like that's the case because Frostlass catches an Earth Power. And I go for Destiny Bomb trying to get a free kill. My opponent predicts that, goes for Stealth Rock since he figured I'll be pressured to try and get the kill instead of going for Taunt. And I figured Heat Train had done its job at this point, so I just go for it again, despite already showing it. He does go for Earth Power. He might have thought I would try to spike up again, which is understandable. But it's already a double down. I decide to reveal my own Heat Train to try to get Stealth Rock up, but he goes with Flygon. U-turn's probably obvious, but it's way too risky to stay in, so I switch and reveal Quagsire. He turns out to reveal Suicune. He might not know what OU Quagsire does, but then my opponent decides to double switch, and he's going to reveal Jirachi. He might have realized that Suicune actually doesn't match up well against Quagsire, so I just go for Toxic based on him going to Coon initially, thinking he would stay in to try and set up. I don't know what kind of Jirachi this could be, so I switch back to Heat Train since it's the best thing I have for Jirachi in general. And I can also get up Stealth Rock as long as it's not Super Rachi, since they tend to carry Hidden Power Ground, but he Calm Minds. I'm running a different variant on the specially defensive Heat Train. I still take a bit of a risk since if this is Super Rachi, HP Ground would have KO'd there. He shows Thunderbolt though, so it's most likely Calm Mind Wish, and I get Stealth Rock up. Since he stayed into Thunderbolt, he's lost momentum since he can't take on Heat Train. So either Suicune or Flygon is going to come in, so I show the Magma Storm to trap either one. Since Flygon will be forced to U-turn, and Heat Train can actually beat Suicune, which he does end up going to. Looks like it's offensive Coon based on the damage Magma Storm did. This Heat Train's meant to beat bulky Gyarados, so I decided to reveal the move that was meant for Gyara, Hidden Power Electric, and he boosts up, which saves Suicune from the OHKO, and I just decided to fodder him out. Heat Train out. He goes for Surf, but I do have the Pasho Berry, and Tran just barely lives to get the second HP Electric off for the KO. Could have gone to Quagsire since Suicune could have very well had Hydro Pump, and now I can't switch Tran out, but I figured Tran had done its job, so I stick with the plan. He goes into Jirachi, finishes with me with Thunderbolt. I reveal Dragonite on the free switch to try to break up his team a little bit more for my sweeper. I go right for Fire Blast, and he does end up going back to Flygon, which is fine since any damage on Flygon is good since it's very resistant to hazards. And I decided to reveal Extreme Speed here. Pretty ballsy, but then again, the way I played back then, if he did Outrage, it would just let my sweeper come in to set up. So he U-turns out again, expecting me to switch out, goes to Jirachi. Looks like he's got nothing else for Dragonite other than Flygon, so I go for Fire Blast again. But he outruns me and gets a Calm Mind off before it hits, so he might be running the timid version of Calm Mind Wish, which I think has 180 speed EVs. I could be wrong though, but because he's at +1 and he's faster, Psychic's going to do the job, so I'm not out of the woods yet, especially since I haven't seen his last two. I revealed Gengar. This was a really sticky turn because I'm actually at a disadvantage. I went for Shadow Ball and got a crit, which mattered since he was at +1, and this Gengar scarfed. It seemed like a bad move, but I figured I could hit Jirachi with Gengar, then bring Quagsire in to finish it with Earthquake. But he goes to Flygon regardless, so I outrun that, KO that, which he probably didn't expect, and it looks like I'm back in the game, so he reveals Metagross on the free switch. I go back to Quagsire since that's the only thing I have to take on most Metagross. He goes for Meteor Mash, and I decide to go for Encore, since I believe he was running a Jolagross, but I figured if he EQ'd, Gengar would get a free switch, and if he set up, then I could just EQ it. But he switches out to reveal his last, which is a Dragonite of his own, and I really had no choice but to stay in there and find out what kind of Dragonite this was. So I went for Encore again in case it was Dragon Dance, but he dropped a Draco Meteor, so it's a Mixed Knight. And I have to reveal Lucario now, so I go for Ice Punch immediately, hope I outspeed. Turns out his Dragonite was faster and throws a Fire Blast, but because of the drop in special attack, Luke lives it. That tells you something about him. He doesn't run max special attack. either. He's running at least close to max speed. So I finished Dragonite off, Metagross comes in, and I follow suit and finish it with a close combat thanks to the hazards, and that's the game. But it was a pretty nice game. I honestly felt like I got pretty lucky towards the end, as without that crit, the decisions I made would have been different, and I could have potentially lost instead. But it's Pokemon. But next time we'll be moving on to week 5 of Smogon Tour 13. Stay tuned to see how I do, and until next time, Chun is out. Peace.